What's up guys? I'm Alex from APE and today I'm going to be working on my 2004 Audi A4. I'm in the process of fixing up the bodywork. So I've decided to replace both fenders and also some of the doors. So in today's video I'm going to be attacking the fender replacement. So this procedure should be the same for all Audi A4 or S4. First thing you'll need to do is to remove the headlights. To do so, you just need to open the hood and you will see the two bolts on top of each headlight. Normally it should be a Torx T20 bolt. Mine have been changed to Allen in the past. Once you've removed both T20 bolts here, there are two T20 bolts on the back of the headlight. So if you look downwards, you will see that there are two bolts to loosen, and this will let your headlight slide out like that once you've disconnected also both connectors on the back. Next step, to remove the bumper, you'll have three nuts to remove on each side. They link the end of the bumper to the front of the fender. So if you go with your 10mm socket, you'll see the three bolts are just behind here. So you just have to go ahead and remove these three on each side. Once the bolts on each side are removed, you will need to remove the front grills on each side of your bumper and unscrew the Allen bolt that goes up through your bumper support. In my case here, I always leave those loose because I think that just the anchors on each side are enough. So you're going to pull on the side of the lip bumper here and clip it. And then same thing on the other side. Clip it here. There you have it. Bumper is off. So here are the bolts that I was talking to you about. I actually leave those loose because they're a pain to remove, and I think the bumper is secured well enough just when it's slid on here and bolted on each side. It's not going to go anywhere. Now on the front bottom of the fender you have two T20 bolts that you can remove. These are bolted onto a bracket that holds the fender to the front of the car. You can either unbolt the bracket from the car or the bracket from the fender. I'm gonna try these two here first. So this one is off. And then once those are off, you'll expose two other bolts that are a little bit bigger. Those are T30. There. And if your fender is as rusted as mine, you might lose some parts. So the two bolts are off. So the front of the fender is loose. Then we have another T30 here between the fender and the front core support. Then you have four T30 bolts here on the top. your fender is almost loose. Once you've jacked up the front of the car, you can now remove both front wheels. Now next step is to remove the fender well, so the black plastic part here, which is inside of your fender, and it's held on by a bunch of T20 screws. So if you look around, you'll see a bunch of T20 screws a little bit everywhere holding the fender well to the car. So you need to remove all of these little screws. You have a bunch in the front, at the back, and even on the top of your fender well. So all of these need to get removed, and then you can pull off the fender well from underneath the car. Once you've removed the fender well, you'll have a styrofoam piece like this that you can remove, and then you will need to remove this black plastic part that is held on also by T20 bolts. So you have 1, 2, and you might need to move this little line here, and you'll see there's a lot of sand and crud in the back here. So if you have a shop vac, now it's the time to get it out and clean all of that. So behind here we have 2 T30 bolts that we also need to remove. So here we are inside the passenger door. So there's 2 bolts that need to be removed. You have 1 T20 here that is in the bottom corner between the side skirt and the fender. So you can get this one by the inside. And then after that we have a T30 which is right up here. So this one needs to be removed in order to get the fender off. So now you're going to want to remove the front of the side skirt to get access to the 2 last bolts that are right behind here. So you should have removed some bolts here. We have removed 1 bolt that is inside that you can access with the door open. And now we're going to remove a couple of bolts that are underneath here so that we can move the side skirt out of the way. In order to remove the side skirt, what you can do is take a flat screwdriver and just pop this trim off, and then you'll have access to some other T20 bolts. I just removed the first 3, and then you'll be able to pop the side skirt off to be able to gain access to the front 2 last bolts to remove the fender. So once these bolts are removed, you can just pull the side skirt a little bit like this, and then you'll have access to remove the bolts, 2 final bolts holding the fender to the car. In my case, the fender already came off because it was so rusted that it just broke off. One last thing, on the driver's side, you're gonna have this reservoir here that is in the way to remove the 2 top bolts. So in order to remove this one, you'll have 2 nuts that are here that hold this reservoir to the car. These are 2 10mm nuts that you're going to need to remove. Then you can move the reservoir away, then remove these 2 bolts, and then once these 2 are off, you can just pull the fender. And there you are, the fender is off.